Gonna play it now. And this volume is like... Okay, yeah, I should be able to talk pretty easily over this. Actually, I can lower this too. Alright, so first stage, there's not really a whole lot to say. Usually what I do in the first stage is I try to just play risky and just try and go like really quick. The first stage is kind of, to me, it really feels like filler. It's like I just want to get it out of the way as soon as possible. So I don't mind taking some lumps in the first stage if it means I can beat it faster. That's usually what I do. So I'm gonna be going over some of the changes, some of the adjustments I've made to my gameplay, and I'm also gonna be explaining a lot of the thought process behind why I do certain things the way I do. So just to get it out of the way real quick, one of the main changes I've made to my gameplay is that I put more priority on, and thanks for the congrats, appreciate it. This was a long time coming, this achievement, so I'm really happy. I put more priority into the reverse shoulder for general purpose attacking. You're not going to really see it to a whole lot of effect. I mean, I use it here in the first stage, but it really starts to shine later on, and I'll explain why later on. The reverse shoulder is generally, it's one of the best moves in the game, but there are certain things about it that make it extra good that I've put to much better use recently, and especially in this particular playthrough, I put it to really good use in a lot of different spots in the game. So I'm gonna be covering that as they arise. One of them is with these guys. So these guys like to do like a little wave dash back. They do like a little back step to avoid you. The reverse shoulder is actually really good for forcing them to do that, because even though they'll dodge it, you recover quickly enough to do a special or to do anything you want really before they recover. So this is just kind of standard fare. I kind of messed up something a little bit here when we get to the next phase, but it doesn't really matter. The easy boss. And if he goes to the ground, that's pretty much what you do to deal with that. So yeah, stage 1 is pretty simple. Stage 2, some of the adjustments I've made, you guys have already seen on stream, on like some of my previous attempts. Those are largely with the robot sections, and I did get those robot sections down pat in this playthrough. They came out really well. There was no mistakes with those. So you're already seeing like a lot of the reverse shoulder as I kind of use it as like the main attack now. It's instead of doing strikes, regular strike, because every time you do a regular strike, there's a chance that you might accidentally, or not accidentally, but rather randomly get a throw or a slam, and that could get you in trouble depending on enemies that may be nearby. So here's strategy number 1 with the robots for those first 3. I've already done that on stream, but there have been times where I've messed it up on stream. So that's basically what it's supposed to look like, in case you haven't seen it. What I do here, so I'm gonna pause it right there real quick. So scrolling is extremely important in this game. The way that you scroll the screen and the enemies that you make appear, when a certain number of enemies appear, the screen locks, right? And it doesn't let you to proceed further. Sometimes when you scroll the screen, enemies may come from behind you, and depending on how many other enemies are on the screen, the screen might lock sooner rather than later. So some of those enemies that came from behind you, you can actually despawn them if the screen doesn't lock right away. Sometimes you want to scroll the screen, like in this instance, you want like a certain group to appear before you make specific enemies appear. So right here, I make this group appear before the robots because I want to get rid of all of these guys before the robots. So what I do is I scroll the screen, and I can't say always, but it'll almost always lock before the robots appear. And then I fight these guys on the left side because once I start killing them, the screen will unlock, but I don't want to move it just yet. So I fight them on the left to prevent moving. And now I do that slide kick, I do that DP, and I do that whole sequence to get rid of all those robots. So that's pretty much exactly how you want that to go. The way I took care of those robots. Otherwise, they can be a bit of a pest. So here's just, you know, get rid of this group. The way that they spawn is actually pretty favorable for getting like the running lunge kicks and such. So here I position myself a certain way, and then I do this. I can take out all of those robots with the falling strikes. So what I do here, because the purple enemies have the ability to grab you and do a ton of life, I actually just grab that pizza power and take care of. Once they all like jump out of the doorways, that's when I grab the pizza power. I want to make sure that none of those purple guys have a chance to grab me. These other guys here, these blue ones and the ones with the 3-section staff, none of those guys can grab you, so I'm not really too worried. They're not that dangerous. At least not in this section. So over here, I scroll the screen a certain amount to make these guys appear without making the orange kunai guys appear. Then I do a slide kick to make the screen go really fast so that the boss will just load before the orange kunai dudes can get a chance to approach me. So here, and for those who are curious about why I keep doing the falling strikes against most of the bosses, it's because that move is the strongest move in the game. It's the strongest move in the game by far, like to a significant degree. So generally the boss strategies boil down to, are there safe ways to land that move against them? If there are safe ways to do it, then that's the approach you want to take. There are other fast strategies you can use, but nothing beats the falling strike for bosses. It just does way too much damage. And in some cases, for this difficulty, because bosses have more health than other difficulties, you do want that extra speed to make sure you can beat the stage on time. So this is the first stage where you see the reverse shoulder put to like much better use. Like instead of doing a lot of specials, which I mean, normally I would mix specials with the reverse shoulder a lot, but I would still do more special attacks than what I'm doing here. Instead of doing that, I'm actually focusing on just doing more reverse shoulders than anything, because they're much harder to punish. They don't put you airborne, so you can't get knocked back if you're hit out of it. Like if you do Mikey's special, he's airborne, and if you get hit out of that, it'll like knock you back, and that could be worse than just getting hit while you're on the ground. Another thing is if you miss an enemy, you recover faster, so there's less likelihood that you can get punished. And also your rate of attack, as you can see here, I'm doing like multiple shoulders in a row in the same direction. Your rate of attack is just much faster than if you do the specials. So yeah, so far, I mean, the game, everything like up until like this stage is pretty straightforward. There's not too much to say, other than like the changes that I've made. You can't throw or slam enemies in this stage, and also they can't grab you either. So doing regular strikes is actually much safer in this stage. Same thing applies to Neon Knight Riders as well. But the reason I don't do it too much is simply because you have to hit enemies 3 times to get rid of them, versus doing like a reverse shoulder where you only have to hit them once, and he gives you movement that lets you dodge other enemies. So this section I've taken to just like trying to get rid of them as quickly as possible rather than trying to dodge and wait them out, because that's what I would do previously. I would like try and dodge them a lot and wait, because when you don't get hit by them for a while, or even if you get hit, they start to go away. You know, like the same monster will jump a few times and then it'll despawn, it'll go away. But I've switched up the way I do that section. I actually am a bit more aggressive now and just try and get rid of them faster. Alright, so here is where the game actually begins, right? And it's not that stage 4 is too difficult, it's just that it's the first stage that doesn't have a pizza until the very end, which means you have to be very consistent about not taking damage early on. It's also the first stage where you have to do a timer bomb drop, or bomb dodge, I should say. So the dodge that I do, somebody asked me this on my YouTube video of the other 1cc I got on very hard mode, but it had 1 death in it. They asked me, what do I do to dodge the bomb reliably? And the answer is I use the music. I am a fervent believer in not using external tools of any sort, because I think using external tools to circumvent a challenge that the game is posing to you, I consider that cheating. So technically you can use like a timer or stopwatch or something to know when the bomb is going to drop, but you're using a tool that's not in the game. So that, to me, that is cheating. What I do is I use the music because it's consistent. There's no variation in the loops of the music. So the bomb will always drop at the exact same beat in the song. So as long as you know what beat the bomb drops in, and you know more or less what part of the stage you'll be at when it drops, then you can always dodge it reliably without having to react to it. So that's what I do. I've done that for quite some time now, but I think I've definitely gotten much better at it in the past month or 2. So these blue guys, they have a tendency to do like this little vertical dodge. You'll see like later on some of them might do it. They move very slowly, but they do guaranteed damage. If they hit you with their axe, they do guaranteed damage to you. They don't have to hit you 3 times in order to do chunks of your life. So I do try to prioritize getting rid of these blue axe guys. And even though they move slow, they always tend to dodge you or try to dodge like once. They usually try to do it once. So if you try to attack them, like let's say they move onto your plane vertically and you try to attack them, they like to do this little vertical dodge to like dodge your move. And they'll usually do that like 1 time. They'll do that like 1 time, and then when you try to attack them again, when they move back onto your plane, they won't dodge the 2nd time. A lot of enemies in this game, they have very, very subtle differences in their AI. Like it's not like this guy. They have differences in their AI, and they also have different AI modes too. And some of these differences are not the most obvious. So like, for example, this stage has some pink enemies that use tonfas. They actually have an AI mode where they move faster than other enemies. They move faster than almost any other enemy in the game except for the ones with the tuning forks that are the fastest ones. And there are some situations where See, like this pink guy is moving very slow right now, but they have an AI mode that they can shift to where they move much quicker than that. Like that right there. Like you see how he was like following me vertically? He was following me much faster than most other enemies would. So yeah, you'll see that there's a distinct lack of standard strikes because I just don't want to risk getting throws and slams. Even though slams can be really good, but they, you know, depending on the situation, they can also get you in trouble. Another thing that I'm much better at, that you'll see to put to great effect in this playthrough is using diagonal movement to influence where they move. Because before, I would say I didn't take it as seriously. Where like I would be on their horizontal plane, and that was a mistake right there. I didn't actually see the other guy, the second guy, and he kind of like delayed his bomb toss. But yeah, like over here, see. So I'm just trying to dive kick that guy, because that guy to my right, I figured he was gonna try and swing. So I wanted to dive kick the guy on the left so that this guy on my right would whiff. And I didn't attack him to punish him because I wasn't sure if he was actually going to attack. And I wanted to make sure that I would be able to get out of that without taking damage, so I just did a DP after the dive kick for the invincibility. But yeah, diagonal movement to influence their movement. I use that to much greater effect here. Because oftentimes what I would do before, I would position myself horizontally on their plane, but I would be like really far from them, and I would do like Mikey's special. But sometimes they would attack me out of that, and I would get knocked back, and maybe they'll knock me to the right and scroll the screen because I got knocked out of the air. What's up, Aura? How you doing? Successful attempt here. I'm just going over the video and commentating it. So here I'm trying to all right, let me go over this again. So I'm paying attention to the music because obviously I use that for the bombs, right, to dodge. So I'm actually trying to get rid of all these guys, but this guy did a preemptive strike right there. He did a preemptive strike. So I'm trying to get rid of them as quickly as possible because I know the bomb is going to drop. I was going to attack this guy with the reverse shoulder, but he did a preemptive strike and he didn't move into it. Which kind of made me a little annoyed. And at this point the bomb is about to drop. So then I just move in like a weird way to make sure the guy doesn't hit me and interrupt my bomb dodge. I move like that just to make sure he can't get to me. So then once that bomb drops, get rid of that last bomb guy. And this, remember what I said, like scrolling is very important. So here, there's only certain enemies that I want to scroll because I don't want to scroll the screen all the way because then I'm going to make a massive group appear and I don't have to fight all of those guys. I only have to fight enough guys to make sure the screen stays unlocked once I start moving forward. So once I get rid of these two guys, I will have gotten rid of enough enemies to where the screen will not lock until later. So I can skip a big group of enemies and just go all the way over there. So there are a lot of mallet guys that appear if I don't do that. And I don't want to fight all of those mallet guys because the mallet guys do instant damage to you. They do 2 bars of your health with every hit. They don't have to hit you repeatedly to do chunks of your life. So enemies like that are always a threat. So here is kind of the same thing. I don't want to make a massive group spawn. I just want to fight a few at a time and make sure that I get rid of some key enemies so that the screen doesn't lock and make a group appear that I don't want to fight. so here, I believe now is, yep. So I avoided a massive group by doing that. Now this is pretty much the same thing as what you've seen, but like I said earlier, boss fights, you really want to try and incorporate the falling strike if you can do so safely. And just so happens that it's pretty easy against this guy, and every turtle can do it. So it's a very, very fast, reliable strat. Now here I grabbed the pizza. Even though I had 4 bars, there's nothing that he does that does 4 bars of my health. If you get hit with the cement ball, like it does 3 bars of your health. But I never wait until I have 1 bar before I get the pizza. I make sure I get the pizza to account for silly possibilities. Because the last thing you want is to lose an attempt stupidly to something like that. So, okay, skull and crossbones is where the game starts to get super serious. Scrolling is paramount here. So I make sure that I make only like a certain group appear. I use this reverse shoulder. Then there's a certain group here that I want these guys, and I accidentally got hit in the air, and this could have been bad. All these enemies, I didn't want them to appear just yet. So I had the idea is to try and recover from this without scrolling the screen to the right. I don't want to scroll the screen to the right yet. I want to thin the herd. I need to get rid of these archers because they do instant damage to you. They control a lot of space, and they control aerial space, and of course the yellow discus guys as well. So this guy, I tend to get him just because I can make him spawn without making anything else spawn, and I know that these guys are gonna appear, and I don't want to fight that guy with 3 of these guys on the screen as well. So yeah, one of them appears, and then the other mallet guy appears. And then here, that plank was kind of a problem, and I didn't want to scroll the screen just yet, so I actually just hit him just to make sure he didn't catch his discus, and then DP to not get hit by the ones coming back. So I'm not actually sure why I did a strike there. Oh, I think I was trying to stun him so that the other guys could approach, and then I could get them all together, and I just wound up getting a slam, which worked out pretty well. I like to get rid of these archers before making anyone else appear, usually these sword guys. And you can see, like I said earlier, lots of reverse shoulders. I substitute a lot of what I would do before, of like doing specials and such. I started doing many more reverse shoulders instead. Certain enemies like the sword guys and those basic rock soldiers, they don't really have a good answer to a special anyway, so it's pretty safe to use most of the time, unless they do like a preemptive attack. So here, I want those bomb guys to throw, but I want to make sure the other guys don't interrupt me. Go back a little bit. So like, right there, those 2 bomb guys, I could just walk straight down. But the problem with doing that is, first of all, it's actually possible for me to walk straight down and the bomb guys will not toss the bombs. That's actually possible. So generally what you'd do is you'd walk onto their horizontal plane, and then you would stop for a quick moment. You want to be there for a quick moment, and then it'll guarantee that they toss the bombs. But you see this group here around me? Yeah, crossing enemies on the ground is usually unsafe. Now, sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes they don't attack you, but other times they will attack you as you're trying to cross them. So instead of doing that, I just let the bomb guy stay stuck on the pillar, and any guy that wants to try his luck by coming up to the top, he's more than welcome to. So once I get rid of the main dangers, then I can get rid of this guy. He's pretty slow. So over here, what I do for oftentimes with these guys, I try to knock rock soldiers to the left side so that I can do a meaty attack on their wake up without scrolling the screen to the right. Now, it just so happens that these gun soldiers it's very easy to take advantage of their AI. If I walk in front of him like that, he'll shoot, and I can do a low jump kick, which does that. And then I can, as long as I'm facing to the left, if I hit him, he'll get knocked to the left instead of to the right. Now, unfortunately, I went a little too far with the low jump kick, and I did scroll the screen a little bit, and it made these guys appear. So I wasn't able to do that as safely as I would have liked, but as you can see, I go up there, I wait for them to approach me, I do the reverse shoulder, and if I miss, I recover very fast. And then with that bomb guy, I like to, if I have a chance to just stand right in their face, I'll do it because they can't attack you while they're holding the bomb. They have to toss it first. So once he tosses it, I do a DP because I get the invincibility, and it guarantees that he can't hit me. Because sometimes if he tosses the bomb and you try to do something else, sometimes they actually attack really fast after tossing the bomb, and you'll get hit. They'll actually interrupt you. But if you do a DP, you have invincibility, so that there's absolutely nothing they can do. So over here, these pink shuriken guys, they actually kind of appear randomly. They're always the same amount of them, but they don't appear at the exact same times during the screen scroll, on this stage in particular. I'm not really sure why that is. It's just kind of the way they made this stage. So you can't ever 100% predict when those guys are gonna like climb up from the side of the boat. And I do see that sword guy sticking up, so he was stuck on the pillar, so I just moved up so that he'll change his movement and get unstuck. And right here, I wasn't sure, so I just did a DP there just in case the bomb was gonna drop there. I wasn't sure if I had wasted too much time or not. I was maybe like 70% sure that the bomb wasn't gonna drop just yet, but I like to do it just in case. In the past, what I used to do is I used to count the loops. I used to manually count the loops of the music and to know exactly when the bomb would drop, but I found that that actually takes a lot of focus away from playing the game, and sometimes I would lose count, and then I wouldn't know what to do. So I trained myself to learn how to dodge the bomb without counting the loops of the music. So over here, what I'm actually doing is I'm making sure that no enemies spawn, because the bomb is gonna drop this time. I'm making sure no enemies spawn here, but at the same time you can't stand still forever, because what happens is if Splinter gets like really big, a bomb will drop and kill you anyway. And if you let his sprite get as big as possible, it actually does a max rank mode. So even if the bomb doesn't drop, you actually increase the rank to maximum difficulty. So I don't want that either. I'm trying to avoid the bomb dodge, and I'm trying to avoid the maximum rank too. So the way to do that is to just scroll the screen, inch the screen forward just a little bit, and here, this area, enemies don't appear until you scroll a little bit further. So I have basically multiple opportunities to scroll the screen a little bit to just to kind of reset Splinter without having to worry about enemies spawning and like interrupting me as I'm trying to dodge the bomb. So that, I wasn't actually trying to break that. I was just trying to make sure it didn't hit me because I wasn't sure if it would go high enough. And here, what I like to do is I like to scroll the screen, deal with these guys before I get the pizza power. Because the pizza power is actually more useful later on for like another group. So I just scroll the screen a little bit because these guys are pretty easy to deal with without using the pizza power. It's not at max rank. No, it's on max difficulty, but the rank still increases as you progress through the game. So when you start the game, it doesn't start on max rank, even though it's on max difficulty. But if you let the Splinter sprite go as big as possible, and then move forward, the game will automatically set it to max rank, which I want to avoid at all costs. So here, this group of enemies can be pretty brutal. So I'm just trying to inch the screen. You see, I inched the screen forward just a little bit, and like five or six guys still appeared, even with that very tiny scroll. So that guy's still alive because I just dive kicked him. So over here, what I do, you see, I did like I was like circling around, right? And it looked kind of pointless, but there's actually a point to it. So that plank down there, if you just move all the way to the bottom, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can walk past the plank without getting hit by it. There are actually two different positions that you can take at the bottom of the screen. And I'm not really entirely sure how it works. It has to do with your pixel position. I think like when you move up and down, your character kind of like skips pixels. So sometimes when you hit the bottom of the screen, your character, and it's only the bottom of the screen too. This doesn't happen at the top. At the bottom, your character will be 1 pixel higher. So in this instance, if I had the position that was 1 pixel higher, the plank will hit me. But if I have the very lowest position, I can walk right past the plank without it hitting me at all. And I can attack, I can reverse shoulder, I can do anything I need to do without the plank actually hitting me. So that's why I was doing that little weird circular motion, because I was looking at Mikey's shadow to make sure I had the correct pixel position. What max rank does, so in arcade games, rank is basically scaling difficulty as you progress through the game. So regardless of the difficulty mode that you're on, let's say you start on stage 1, the game will target a max number of enemies at a given time, right? So I think on this difficulty, I think it starts at either 4 or 5. It starts at like 4 or 5 max enemies on the screen at once. So once you lock the screen, there'll be like 4 or 5 enemies. And after every stage, it increases that number by like 1. So the maximum number of enemies that this game can put on the screen at a given time is 12. If you let Splinter get as big as possible, the sprite, and then you continue, you put that rank at maximum. So on stage 1, you can have 12 enemies at once. On stage 1, you can do that. So, and I think they put that in the game for people who like to go for like score, because obviously more enemies means your score will be higher. So for people who might want to do like a score run, which is not really a thing in this game, but a lot of arcade games have score runs. So over here, I just make sure my position is correct, and starting from stage 4, the screen scrolling is extremely important, because since this is the hardest difficulty, and this is the NA version of the game, which is by far the hardest, if you just scroll the screen all the way and make the massive group appear, it's difficult to deal with everybody at once, because there's just so many enemies, and it's more risky. There aren't as many spaces on the screen that are safe for you. So when you scroll the screen just a bit at a time, oh boy, that doesn't look good. Hold on, I gotta kill this thing right here. It's not dead. And it's in a really shit spot too. Alright. Hold on. I gotta get this thing. Because I'm not looking to sleep with this thing in my room. Okay. That has to be it. Did I get it? I did. Okay. It was a spider, but it wasn't those really tiny spiders that are cool. You know, there's like these little tiny spiders that are cool. You know, if you have a mosquito in your room, they'll like get them. No, it was a little bit of a bigger spider. So I'm not trying to have that in my room when I go to sleep. But I got it. What's up, Dark Pro? Wrong game. Wrong game. But yeah. Yeah, so this game you can't get max rank in the middle of stage 1 if you're just playing through the game normally. The only way to do it is to get the big splinter to appear. So, as I've said before in the past, I'll say it again for the benefit of people who don't know. Back attacks are actually very strong against bosses in particular. I'm not sure why. Because they aren't really that strong against regular enemies, but against bosses, they're very strong. Now, for these two, because the back attack recovers very quickly, I can basically chain multiple back attacks in a row, and it's fairly safe. But obviously, you have to worry about that, so I'll try to point this out. So these two guys, they have this... Oh, I paused at the right frame. They have an extended hit stun. Alright, what is this? The clock spider. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't have a spider of that size, but might as well be, right? So yeah, these bosses, they have like this extended hit stun. So normally when you're chaining hits on them, sometimes they will randomly get this extended hit stun where you can't attack them again, and they have like full invincibility. After that extended hit stun, they actually have a guaranteed invincible counterattack. So you're gonna see it right here. I'm gonna chain a little bit on Razar, and then right there he has that extended hit stun. So as soon as I see that, I just do a DP and I get out of there. Right there I did a DP just to avoid Toka's charge attack. When they're both jumping at me like that, I usually try to just hit one of them out of the air because it knocks them down. Any attack you do to them when they're jumping will knock them down, like guaranteed, regardless of damage. So I try to do that just to change up their sync, the way they sync up. Because these guys can move in a way where their sync is like unfavorable for me. So whenever they jump, I try to use that. I didn't do it to Toka right there because I had already knocked Razar down, so I waited until he landed, and then you can start chaining the back attacks on them. There's the extended hit stun. Alright, so now Razar. And Razar is usually the first to go because he's more aggressive, so he's usually in your face more than Toka is. So it's not that I'm specifically targeting him, it's that he's targeting me more. Like he's trying to get in my face more than Toka does. So he just winds up taking the beating first. Alright, so this stage, I'm actually less scared of this stage than I am of stage 5 because there are no planks. There are no planks, and there are no discus guys. There are, however, the Girder Rock Soldiers. And the Girder Rock Soldiers are very scary. So I actually developed something somewhat new against Rock Soldiers in general. And I don't use it against every Rock Soldier. I use it against some of the dangerous ones. The ones that have dangerous preemptive attacks, I've changed the way I approach fighting them, and it works out really well most of the time. So over here, I just do the scrolling. I just try to get these guys out of the way. But remember, like, I don't want a massive group. I just want to fight a few at a time. And here's the first girder guy. So what I do is I'll wait until he gets close, and then I'll use a dive kick. Then I'll do that standard strike, and then I'll do a DP. And the reason I do that, let's see if I do it again here. Yeah. So I didn't actually want to hit him with the dive kick there, but it works out because then I can get him on his wake up. So the reason why I'm doing the dive kick now is because it closes the distance faster than anything else. And the Rock Soldier AI changes when you're close to them. Even if you're not on their horizontal plane, if you are vertically aligned with them, their AI is different. So I do that. Then I move straight into them vertically, and I do a standard strike because if I do the DP, yes, the DP is invincible. You see how I did a strike and then DP. I could move into them and then do a DP, but the issue with that is I have to make sure I release the stick to neutral in order to get the DP. And there's a small period of time where they could hit me if I didn't do the DP quickly enough. Versus the standard strike, I can actually be holding straight up or straight down and hit the button, and I'll always get a strike. I don't have to like release the stick to neutral first. So I make sure that I stun them first with that. And you'll see a lot more of that. But again, it depends on the Rock Soldier. Like right here, I'm just trying to make this gun guy appear. I didn't want the axe guy to appear just yet, but so yeah, I try to just like make certain enemies spawn. If I knock those Rock Soldiers down, I try to get them on their wake up. And remember, reverse shoulder has much more priority now. Like I prioritize that move as a standard attack more than I used to. And it's mainly, like you see how I try to take like a diagonal position, because diagonal position compared to enemies, it alters their movement in a way that makes them slower and more predictable. So over here, I just want to make sure that these the sword guys and the gun soldiers are out of the picture, because there are some tuning fork guys that appear here. These tuning fork guys are going to appear right now. There's one of them, and the girder guys, and I don't want all of those guys together. So dive kick, get close, and that one actually hit him, so I can get him on the wake up. There's 3 more tuning fork guys, 3 more, and a girder guy. So over here, I just try to knock down the girder guy if I can, and I try to get rid of the tuning fork guys because they're the most aggressive. There you go, standard strike. So yeah, I'm much better at dealing with those guys now. Right there, like I know these guys are gonna appear, right? I know they appear right there, but because they control so much space, what I actually do is once I spawn them, I just do a DP, so they can't hit me. I have invincibility. So right here, just do the DP and then move vertically. And these guys are very easy to bait. They're not actually that threatening, because their main attack has so much recovery, it's extremely easy to punish. So over here, I'm thinking about the bomb. So I'm like, okay, I want to make sure this guy's out of the picture, and he's like doing a lot of dodges. So over here, I'm like just waiting for the bomb. Before I spawn any more guys, just make sure the bomb is out of the picture. And there you go. So then I move forward,
Pizza time.
and I take the pizza because I don't want to risk getting knocked to the right and having the pizza go off screen before I get a chance to grab it. So I rather just take the pizza there. So this guy, I just bait him. Bait that guy. You can bait him, do a DP, and then land and do another DP. You have enough time to do that because they have so much recovery on their main attack, like right there. I could have punished him for that, but I always prioritize the sword guys first. So again, I wait for them to get close, try to take a diagonal position, and then I do the reverse shoulder. These guys, I can use the dive kick or the low jump kick, and then I knock him to the left so that I can get his wake up without scrolling the screen. So yeah, these guys, this stage has a lot of these guys. So it's a lot of baiting. A lot of baiting their attack. And I prefer baiting their attack because it guarantees that they don't hit me with a preemptive strike. If you can bait an enemy into doing something predictable, then you take all the randomness out of the equation. And preemptive strikes are random, so I'd rather just bait these guys into doing their attack in a predictable way and then punish them for it. But right here, I just want to make sure I don't get hit with the girder guy. Now, there is also another change I've made to the dive kick. It's not just the fact that I'm using the dive kick to close the distance now. It's more the fact that there's actually a frame during your jump where the dive kick input doesn't come out. And I've actually lost attempts to that. Like in Starbase, I've lost attempts that would have succeeded if my dive kick came out. But the dive kick never came out and I just died. I got punished for it. So I started double tapping. I double tap all of my dive kicks now. So in double tapping the dive kick, I guarantee that I can always get it. Am I gonna learn a different turtle? I already know how to use all the turtles. I have 1CCs with every turtle in this game. Not on this version of the game. In this version of the game, I have 1CCs with 2, Mikey and Don. But in the other versions of the game, I have 1CCs with every turtle. There really isn't that much to know. All you have to know is all you have to know is that Leo and Raph can't use their specials because their specials are awful. So you have to substitute specials for reverse shoulders, which is just fine because as you can see in this playthrough, I don't actually use special that much. I use it for certain situations like that. But in general, I'm using the reverse shoulder a lot more, and the DP of course is a staple. Again, you don't really have to know a whole lot. Leo's back attack is very short range. It's really bad. Don's back attack is good for knocking people down, and it's pretty active, so it's hard for enemies to punish it. But it recovers very slowly compared to the other turtles. And apart from that, there really isn't a whole lot you need to know about the other turtles. I would like to see if I can get an achievement like this with like Raph or something though. Because as you can see, I'm not using the special that much. It's mostly the DP and the reverse shoulder. So yeah, what I'm trying to do here, always double tap the dive kicks. I learned the hard way. There is a frame when you do that jump and you try to do the dive kick. There's a frame where the dive kick input just doesn't come out. It just doesn't work. So I double tap always to make sure that the dive kick comes out. And then once you're close to them vertically, he actually did a preemptive strike right there, unfortunately for me. And I walked into it. What I was trying to do there was I was trying to get close to him and do a strike and then DP him to the left so that the screen wouldn't scroll to the right. Unfortunately, this was probably the worst part right here of the run. This right here was probably the worst part because this is actually where I came dangerously close to death. Any one of these rock soldiers can kill me in one hit right now. So the idea right there is to kill enough so that I can scroll the screen and I despawn like those other guys.
Pizza time.
So now I gotta take the pizza early and fight this guy without a pizza, but generally speaking, I know I'm pretty good at fighting this guy. So for those who don't know about Leatherhead, Leatherhead is different from every other boss in the game except Krang and Starbase. So Leatherhead and Krang, their health, they don't have chunks of health the way other bosses do. So the attack strength doesn't matter. So you see me do a lot of strikes on him. I just do regular strikes because doing stronger attacks doesn't actually kill him faster. So he has this weird back and forth like hop movement that it tricks a lot of people. A lot of people, they get tripped up by it. If you are too far in front of him, he'll either like toss a knife at you or he'll like go real low. He'll go on like all fours and then like run across horizontally to try and hit you quickly. But if you attack him from a diagonal position, he won't do either of those things. Well, actually, he still can do like running on all fours, but he's very unlikely to do it. In this playthrough, I think he did it. He did it a few times, but he can't toss the knife if you are that close to him. He'll opt to do a close up melee attacks instead of tossing the knife. So diagonal position, and I try to position myself so that he hops into my attack. Because if he hops into the attack, then he doesn't have an opportunity to hit you first. But if you're too close to him, like right there, he could be running on all fours. It's not very common for him to do it at that range, but he still can do it. But yeah, if he's like right there, we traded because I was in his plane. I was still pretty close to him. But generally speaking, as long as you position yourself well, diagonally, you can hit him multiple times in a row, and it's pretty safe. So, not much to say about Neon Knight Riders. It's an auto-scroller, and unlike Sewer Surfing, you actually have faster movement, as well as there are no stage hazards. There are no gates, there are no red spike balls in the water, there are no pizza monsters, there's nothing that can interrupt you from dodging the enemies, and the increased movement speed you get makes it much harder for them to get you. So here I just try and dodge as many enemies as I can. Unfortunately, whether these helicopter guys appear or not is a little bit random. It depends on if you kill any enemies prior, and there's a bit of randomness to it as well.
Pizza time. Pizza time.
So right there, I wasn't trying to get 2 pizzas, but it just kind of works out that way. And I just did a DP right after, because sometimes they can hit you after you grab a pizza. I get rid of the robot because he's just kind of annoying, so I'd rather deal with the helicopter guys than the robots. Just because, I mean, they're both pretty slow, but the robot has a very quick attack, and the helicopter guy, if you're just like right under him, he can't hit you at all. So I'd rather deal with that. This is a pretty tame stage. It's fairly free. I'm gonna say it's almost free. But I actually did lose an attempt earlier today to the boss. And the reason I lost an attempt is because I actually got stalled out by his movement and I died to the timer bomb on this stage. It actually takes a little bit over 2 minutes just to get to the end, which means you only have 3 minutes or so to fight the boss. So apparently I took longer than 3 minutes. So this strategy here is actually fairly recent. I did do it on stream. I think the last couple times I streamed, I did this strategy here. So remember what I said, the falling strike is the strongest attack in the game, and whenever you can try and hit bosses with it, it does the most damage. So, Super Krang, he doesn't have health chunks. He's kind of like Leatherhead and Krang, in that he doesn't have chunks of health, so you can't like knock him back or anything, but unlike Leatherhead and Krang, attack strength does actually matter, and it does speed up the fight. So that's why I try to get these falling strikes on him. Generally, there are two attacks that I'm looking out for. This missile attack, and that kick right there. I'm trying to do that. Hold on a second. I think someone's knocking at my door. 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yep. Making sure this looks good. All right. Okay, so what was I saying about this Joker? So yeah, this strategy, I'm really just looking for two attacks. I'm looking for that missile one, and I'm looking for the rocket kick, because both of those I can punish very well with the falling strike. And that when I accidentally flew over him, what you need to do is release the stick to neutral before you attack. And I pressed the attack button before I released the neutral. So those missiles actually do not hit you if you're on the ground. They only hit you if you jump. Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to help someone with something. So anyway, Starbase. This is where a lot of my attempts failed, and this is where you'll see much better, much safer play. Again, reverse shoulder. I missed that reverse shoulder. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I prioritize the reverse shoulder a lot now. So like right here, I think he's gonna move into my plane. I try to do the reverse shoulder like that, and he moves away. So over here, what I used to do is, if I missed the reverse shoulder, I would move up into him and try and hit him with like a DP or something. But oftentimes, not oftentimes, but enough times to be a problem, they would do a preemptive strike and hit me as I was moving up into them. And it happened every once in a while, just enough to do a little bit of damage, just enough to knock you down, just enough to create a snowball situation, right? So instead of moving up into him, I just DP after that, and he just walks into me. And if he tried to do a preemptive strike there, I have invincibility on the DP, so he can't hit me. So what I try to do is I use the numbers on the left. So if you look at the background, there's some purple or pinkish numbers on the left side. I actually look at that as a reference to know where the enemies are going to spawn, because I'm trying to get rid of those two guys before I make the little Roombas appear. That's what I call them. I call them Roombas. And the reverse shoulder is actually really good at dealing with these too, because um, they can't move to the side quickly enough to avoid the attack. So make some more appear. I actually kind of messed this up. Normally I would get those two with a single DP, but I did the DP a little early. So I just kind of correct it. And here, reverse shoulder, again, they can't move to the side quickly enough. So over here, I make this group spawn. I was trying to get rid of those two guys with one DP, but I didn't position myself correctly. But that's fine. Just position myself diagonally, and then reverse shoulder. Reverse shoulder, reverse shoulder. It's very hard for them to punish that, and it gets rid of them in one hit, so. Dark Navi EXE, what's up? How you doing? You was waiting for this version to show up on the site? What do you mean this version? You mean the NA version? Because that's the one that showing right now. Trigger tripwires? There are no tripwires in this game. The arcade version? I've been streaming the arcade version of this game for years. I'm actually showing a video right now of something that I managed to get earlier. But yeah, I've streamed this version, like the arcade version, for years. But yeah, so here, same thing. Take a diagonal position relative to them, and they're gonna try and like get behind you. They like getting behind you. Right there, those guys they like to do that little backstep. The reverse shoulder recovers so quickly that you can just do a special after it recovers, and you can punish their backstep. So right there, he dodged my reverse shoulder. I just Hit him with a DP after. Alright, same thing with this guy. Do the shoulder. He was still close, so I just did that. And Stage 8 is a massive exercise in scrolling the screen correctly. As a matter of fact, there are certain groups of enemies in this game that are so dangerous that if it wasn't for the fact that I developed certain ways of scrolling, I would have to fight these ridiculous groups all at once that are really, really hard to deal with. So again, those gun soldiers, I can low jump kick over the fire, and then I do the DP and knock them to the left. And over here, I actually scrolled the screen a little too far, so I wound up not being able to get the pizza power. So I gotta deal with these guys without using the pizza power. But it's okay, because this particular group is not the most threatening. So I don't mind not having the pizza power to deal with them. Then I scroll the screen, I make some enemies in the back despawn, and I make these guys appear instead. Right there, let me try and explain that a little bit. Because I could have chose to do something else. Like right here. This guy tosses his discus, and it's still fairly low to the ground, and even though it looks like it might go over my head, it's not going to go over my head. It's going to hit me. So I had to DP here. I was obligated to DP here, just to not get hit by that. My goal here is to get rid of this sword guy, but unfortunately, the sword guy has such a position where if I do the reverse shoulder, the discus is actually going to hit me on the way back. So what I wanted to do was just hit the yellow guy first so that he can't catch it. And then I did that. And I don't know why, like, I thought I had the time to do that, because the reason I hit the yellow guy in the first place was because I initially didn't think I would have the time. So I did the reverse shoulder anyway, and that was one of my mistakes in the stage. And obviously it didn't lead to a snowball situation, but that's the sort of thing that can lead to a snowball. That could have knocked me to the right and made a massive group spawn. And this particular area, if you scroll all the way, it'll spawn the limit, right? The 12 enemy limit. And then as soon as you kill more enemies, other enemies will spawn right after that, even though you're not scrolling the screen. And there are very few places in the game where that happens. There's actually like at the very beginning of stage 5 is another location where that happens. That off the top of my head, I actually can't think of any other locations where that happens. It happens in stage 5 in the beginning, and it happens in this area too. So I'm extremely careful to not let that group spawn. I want to get rid of all of these guys first. So right here, I want the gun guy first, because there are some tuning fork guys right after him, and I don't want to fight them at the same time as him. So these 3 guys, I want to make sure these guys are gone. So now there's one more gun guy. I make him spawn by himself. Then once I deal with him, there are 3 more tuning fork guys. Here are 2 of them. And then there's the group that teleports. So the idea, what I'm trying to do here, this is one of the strategies that really, really helps this stage, because let's say I scroll the screen further without fighting these tuning fork guys. What happens is the screen will lock. 6, is it 6? Yeah, 6 purple guys will teleport in the middle. The tuning fork guys will also appear from the left side, and I'll have to fight all of these guys at once. If I had scrolled the screen just as quickly as possible, I would have yellow discus guys, and I would have the gun soldiers and the tuning fork guys and the 6 purple guys all at the same time. And that is the group that I'm trying to avoid fighting at once. So the purple guys are guaranteed to teleport. They're always going to spawn. However, if I get rid of these 3 tuning fork guys first, the screen doesn't lock when they teleport. So they're going to chase me. So they're still going to catch up to me. I still have to fight them. But what I do is I make the screen lock to where I can get rid of the 2 turrets without making the massive yellow guy group spawn. That's the goal here. So I get rid of those guys. There's one more. Trying to make that one guy appear. Once I get rid of him, those are the 3 tuning fork guys. I do a series of flips and a slide kick. So those guys spawn. The slide kick is just to get to the edge of the screen quicker. Then I do a regular strike, and you can see that explosion on the right. That's the second turret. My goal is to get rid of that second turret first because it's more dangerous. Then I just turn around and I get rid of that first turret. The purple guy group, they caught up to me, but now look at the yellow guys. There are only a few yellow guys on the screen now. So I basically avoid fighting the entire group of yellow guys at once by scrolling the screen in this manner. Then for the remainder of them, I can just inch the screen a little bit further and make 1 or 2 appear at a time instead of having to fight all of them at once. This particular change to this stage is one of the most significant changes I've made in Starbase. And it's one of the reasons why I still have a good amount of health at this time. And with the way that I generally scroll the screen, the bomb does drop fairly soon. Like right here. And it works out. So now these guys appear and I don't have any yellow guys on the screen. So I can just take care of them as soon as they become active. So this guy, this is one of the rock soldiers that I've changed the way I fight them. There are different things you can do, of course, to, there are different strategies for fighting all these guys, right? But the one that I do is, again, the dive kick. However, I've taken to baiting them because, like I said before, baiting enemies prevents it eliminates the chance of them getting you with a preemptive strike. So I've lost runs to these guys before because their electric attack does instant damage to you. It doesn't do chunks. I mean, it does chunks of damage to you instantly. 2 bars, right? They do 2 bars of your life instantly. And if they do a preemptive strike, you can't react to it. They'll just hit you. So I've taken to baiting enemies. So the way I bait these guys is I let him walk in front of me like this. Then I move down and I dive kick. So what this lets me do is it lets me get behind him. And these particular guys, they actually have a decent amount of recovery on their attack. They don't recover that quickly. At least not quickly enough to prevent me from punishing them. Because the dive kick puts me on the ground very quickly and it moves me forward. So I can get behind him. So I just hit him once just to stun him from behind. Then I do a DP, knock him to the left so I don't scroll the screen. And then when he wakes up, I just hit him again. So that's how I've been fighting these electric guys now. That being said, they are actually the last target out of like groups like this. The electric guys are kind of like the last guys you want to get rid of because they're other enemies are more threatening, I should say. They're more threatening than they are. So over here is another scrolling strategy that helps significantly on the stage. It's one of the main reasons why this stage is even reliable. So I get rid of this guy just because I don't want too many purple guys on the screen. Purple guys can do lunge kicks, and they can do jump kicks, and they can grab you. And all of those do massive amounts of damage to you like instantly. So What I do is I get rid of that one purple guy because I want to clear up the left side. I want the left side to be safe. And there are only 2 purple guys here. That's not too bad. So I get rid of that first guy on the left. I bait this guy into doing a jumping attack because usually when you have your back turned to them, they'll either do a jumping attack or they'll do a lunge kick. So one of the two, regardless of which one he chooses to do, both of them I can move out of the way. So I do that, and I'm actually just waiting for them to get to the left side of the screen because I don't want them to be on the right side. I position myself at just the right spot, and then I do a slide kick, and I get rid of that first turret. Now, the reason why I left all those other guys on the screen was because I want the screen to lock before the second turret becomes active. So here, I was able to get rid of the first turret, and the second turret is not spawned yet. So now, I don't scroll the screen forward, I get rid of this group before I advance. And then I get rid of all the Foot Ninja first, save the Rock Soldier for last. Bait him, and I actually did not. I wound up hitting him with the dive kick, but that's fine because if you get them on the wake up, you still get the punish. So then over here, take care of that second turret. Get rid of the sword guys. That's the priority here. Sword guys and purple guys, save the Rock Soldier for last. I'm always aware of his position, and I use DPs and such to make sure that he can't hit me. The DP is invincible, so right here, dive kick, get behind him, punish his attack. So there's no chance that he can hit me with a preemptive strike because I baited him into doing a predictable attack. Over here, there's a big group of yellow guys, so I just spawn a few at a time, and then I bait them into tossing their weapon and punish their recovery. Lots of baiting because it gives them predictable behavior when you bait them. And predictable behavior means no preemptive strikes. They're vulnerable, so I can just punish their recovery. Same thing with these guys. Take a diagonal position and use the reverse shoulder when they try to get onto my plane. So over here, so this section is random. This section is random. This section is actually killed runs too, just because I got unlucky. These ice pillars or whatever, you can try and DP through them, but once your invincibility wears off, you're gonna get frozen. It's just guaranteed. You can't DP through these, and you can't do anything really. They'll just freeze you, and sometimes it chains. Sometimes it chains you. It freezes you multiple times in a row, and this is guaranteed damage if you get frozen. Guaranteed damage. It does a lot of damage. So what I do here is there are actually a couple spots at the top that you actually don't take damage. So you see that first panel on the very top left? It's all the way at the top. So that will always hit me. But immediately to the right of that, there's actually a space that you can stand in there's a panel to the right of it that's a little bit lower. That one doesn't actually hit you if you're all the way at the top of the screen. And there's another space on the opposite side of the pizza that it's the same thing. So what I do here is I stand here and then I make sure that I'm clear for the jump. I don't go for it just yet. I wait for a quick moment, and then if it's clear, I do the low jump kick to go over the pizza because I don't want to get the pizza yet. I want to delay when I get the pizza because I still have some health to work with. So I'll use that health. And as you can see here, to the right of this panel that I'm currently above, there's another space that's a little safe, but all those enemies are there. So what I do here is I actually do a few strikes because I want to group the enemies before I do a special. I'll group them up like that, and then I'll do the special, and I'll get more at a single time. The screen locks here. Unfortunately, on this difficulty mode, there's so many enemies that the screen locks, so I have to deal with this ice bullshit. The idea is to get rid of as many enemies as possible so that I can unlock the screen and get away. So now that I've taken a little damage there from that ice, even though I still have 4 bars, I can't die in one hit here. But I don't want to take the chance. So I just go straight for the pizza. And then I try and get rid of as many of these guys as I can. Once I'm on the far right, even though the screen locked again, I'm safe in the top right area because there's no ice there. So I just DP, and once some of those guys explode, the screen will unlock again, and I'm safe. And now look at all the health I have. Just because I played that section correctly. I delayed when I got the pizza. I had some decent amount of health going into that section, so it allowed me to delay getting the pizza. If I had low health, I would have to get the pizza right away, and then I risk taking damage after that. So that's a really good reason why you want to hold on to your health early on. So same thing here. Just make them walk into my reverse shoulders, take a diagonal position. One thing I haven't mentioned about those yellow guys is if you are facing them, if you're facing them and they walk into your plane and you do an attack, they very often do a vertical dodge and they won't toss their weapon. So those blue axe guys that I mentioned earlier on, that they like to do a vertical dodge like that. But those blue axe guys, they tend to only do that once. The yellow discus guys, they do it several times. They like to do it several times. Now sometimes they'll just toss their weapon anyway, but sometimes you'll do the DP and they'll move up and down and not toss their weapon, and then you'll land and then they'll toss it and then you'll get hit. But I learned not too long ago, like a few weeks ago, I learned that if you put your back to them and then do the DP, they'll always toss it. They don't do the little dodge thing. So you can actually screw with their AI just by putting your back to them because they think you're vulnerable. So they'll toss the weapon every time without trying to do the dodge. So you'll see me oftentimes when those yellow guys are around, I'll face away from them, and then when they walk onto my plane, I'll DP, and they'll always toss the discus, and I'm invincible, so the discus won't hit me. This guy, same thing as the electric guy, use the dive kick to get behind him, and then punish his recovery. Over here, I kind of made a mistake. I scrolled the screen a little bit too early there, and the screen, it locked sooner than I needed it to. There's a group of enemies here that I try to avoid fighting by scrolling the screen the right way, but I messed it up here. So I wound up having to fight them anyway. This group on the left side, normally I despawn them. I don't have to fight them. But I messed up my screen scroll, so screen locked and I had to fight them anyway. But it's fine because I didn't take any damage for it. So Starbase, you've noticed that the stage is taking a long time. And in taking a long time, because I'm scrolling the screen like small amounts at a time, a second bomb will drop. So I actually have to do a second bomb dodge here. It's gonna come very soon. But being able to dodge these bombs is the entire reason why something like this is even possible. Otherwise it would not be possible to beat the game in this way. So here I need to be extremely careful because of the lasers, of course. Lasers do instant damage and they can lead to snowball situations. So I get rid of those guys, and then once I get rid of basically the main group, I can get past this first laser. So what I do here is I actually just wait it out. I'm waiting for a certain part of the music because I want to get that bomb dodge before I fight the next group of enemies. And of course I inch forward because I want to reset Splinter. I don't want him to drop the bomb on me. So here we go. There's bomb number 2. So now I can make this guy appear. I actually kind of screwed up this section. I didn't do it correctly. And I must admit, I was a little nervous. I jumped into that by mistake. I was a little nervous here because I had a lot of health. And he hit me and did a nice chunk of damage. So what I do here is I position myself in a way to bait them into attacking like that. And I kind of failed the dive kick there. I don't know what happened there. So the idea is to do a dive kick and punish him. And in order to minimize the chances that I'll get hit with a preemptive strike, because they can hit you with that, I'll walk into him and I'll do a regular strike and then I'll DP. And I'll DP him to the left again so that I don't scroll the screen to the right. So I can just punish his wake up. So now I got rid of those two guys. Now I have to get rid of these two. These guys are three rather. These guys are less dangerous. They don't do instant damage. So now, I actually positioned myself wrong here. I positioned myself in a spot where this guy's missile could have hit me, but if you DP, you can actually hit it. You can hit it and make it explode, and it won't hurt you because you have invincibility. So yeah. So here, I don't want to scroll the screen just yet. I want to get rid of these two guys first. And I wound up scrolling the screen a little bit more than I wanted to, but it's fine because only those two yellow guys appeared. So now I just inch forward. I make these, there's two bomb guys I want to appear. Okay, it's going to be another electric guy. I want to get rid of him first, so bait him, dive kick, attack from behind, and then punish his wake up. Now I can scroll the screen, get rid of this bomb guy right here. And now there are only two enemies left to deal with, and I still have a lot of health to work with. So here, same thing, bait, attack from behind, punish the wake up. No chance of getting bullshit by preemptive strikes, because I'm baiting him. So now I have a lot of health to deal with Krang. I was feeling extremely confident at this point. A little nervous, but extremely confident because of how much health I had. So over here, this fight is really about understanding his AI, the way his movement works. It's actually a little difficult to explain how his movement works. It's something that you get just from fighting him a lot and just from observing the kind of movement he does. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It's difficult to explain how his movement works, but generally speaking, what I want to do is I want to get him into like this loop where he shoots bubbles at you. So like this loop right here. Unfortunately, I think this is the only time I get him in that loop. You can loop him into doing those bubbles repeatedly. And there you go. Only one Roomba appeared, and I got rid of it pretty quickly.
Let's go.
So Shredder, as you guys know, Shredder has an instant kill attack. So I don't screw around with that. I'm very careful here. And unfortunately, I messed up like right at the start. This fight, his movement was actually really bad. Like, so he already tried it. So usually what I do here, so I'm gonna explain this real quick. So in the past, whenever he would do that move, that's his instant kill move, the one where he like levitates up. So this one here, that's his instant kill move. If you get hit with those projectiles, you die instantly, and that would have been all she wrote for this attempt, right? What I used to do was I used to do a special attack to him on the way down, like once he started descending, because when you knock him out of the air, you always knock him back no matter what. And the special attack is pretty strong. It does a lot of damage. However, that was before I started doing the falling strike method on bosses. Falling strike, like I said earlier, is the strongest attack in the game. It only takes 2 falling strikes to do 1 chunk to Shredder's health. So if I were to do the special attack here, I would still have to do those 2 falling strikes to Shredder. So the extra damage that I get from doing a special is worthless. It doesn't help me at all. So rather than risk a bad input for the special and accidentally dying, I just do a regular strike and knock him out of the air. Because there's no risk to doing a regular strike at all. I just knock him out of the air. So get that extra damage I get from a special, don't need it. Because I'm doing this falling strike strategy here. So I just do regular strikes, knock him out of the air. His movement was really whack. Like, I have a manipulation for him where I can get him to do either the jump kick, like that, or this projectile, and I can do the falling strike on him after one of those attacks. But he keeps doing things like that, where he like moves down, or he's like getting close to me. His movement AI was really annoying in this fight. So it was making me a little nervous because he kept moving in like these weird ways. But after a while, I kind of picked it up, and I got him more locked into the pattern that I wanted him to be in. So you can see there's like one strike there, and then here's number 2. It knocks him back. So here's number 1. Oh, actually, I messed that one up. Right here. So there's 1. I did the DP just so I wouldn't get counterattacked there. And over here, I'm just doing DPs because I'm not doing DPs for damage. I'm doing DPs to make sure he doesn't hit me. So there's 1. And I want him away from the corner, so I knocked him to the left. There's 1. There's 2. There we go. 1, 2. So now only one more chunk. So one more falling strike will do it. And over here, I was just making sure you didn't try to get cheeky. Actually, it was 2 more. Miscounted. There you go. And there. That's it. Success.